Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the review for this budget oriented on the ear headphones from Infinity, indirectly JBL, and this is the Glide 510 model. There's also another model that is known as Glide 500. That's the slightly older one, and that was selling for about 1500. This one sells for about 1800. And let's see what do we get on the box. And as you can see, they say bass, and it has dual equalizer for extended bass and then normal. I'll talk about the sound signature later on. And the big thing is that it says 72 hours worth of battery life, and indeed the battery life is really good. I couldn't test it for that 72 hours, but indeed the battery life is good. So this is what you get in the box, basic box that you get. I'll just keep this to the side for now. And these are the earphones. And guys, these are actually on the ear headphones, so they sit over your ears. They don't completely cover ears, so that's a distinction. And if you're not used to these kind of earphones, it might take you a day or two to get used to it. But before we jump, let's talk about the physical overview and what I feel. And it says Infinity, the branding over here. And guys, the entire thing is actually made up of plastic, so entirely it is plastic, guys. It feels a little bit on the cheaper side, especially the buttons over here. It's connected via Bluetooth. They feel actually cheap. On the right hand side, actually we have all the buttons. For example, the volume rocker, and here we have a LED LED when it's connected. This is the power on off button that we have, and we also have the microphone here. And here we have the micro USB port that will be used for charging. The left ear cup, for some strange reason, we don't have any buttons. It just says Infinity on both the sides like this. And the ear cups, they have decent cushion, I would say, considering the price point of this one. But I do feel initially you will feel that the clamping force is slightly on the higher side. As you can see, it won't break if you do like this. See, I'm doing like this, but initially you'll feel that the clamping force is slightly tighter, so it might take some time to get used to it. It'll get a little bit loose. Initially, the first day it was quite high, but now I've gotten used to it. And this is a good thing and a bad thing also. It sits over your ears, I would say. So the thing is that even after about half an hour, your ears won't get hot because there is a little bit of air circulation on it. But again, it's on ear, it's not totally, so it's a different sort of an experience. You'll have to get used to it. And it doesn't have any active noise cancellation or anything because it just sits over here. It does block a little bit of quite a bit of sound around you, but no active noise cancellation and anything. But first, let's talk about the work from home aspect of this, because I know many of us are actually working from home, and we do video conferencing, calls, etc. First, let's talk about that aspect, and then we'll talk about the music aspect. What do I feel about this one? And the good thing that I like on this one is the battery life that I'm getting. It says about 72 hours. I couldn't test that completely, but even after about, now it must be used about 15-16 hours or something like that, and it was showing me about 72%, about 70% battery. So again, the battery life is really good. And for work from home, if you are also daily, you have to wear this for a couple of hours also, then I feel it can last for about almost a week of usage like this. So in that respect, I would say the battery life is very good. Coming to the Bluetooth connection, again, one thing to note is that, again guys, it's only a Bluetooth connection. We don't have any wired connection or aux port on this one. So if you are thinking that you will connect it via aux port or something like that, that's not the case. This is a pure Bluetooth headphones. But the Bluetooth connection was surprisingly good on this one, and it did not disconnect even when was another room sitting in this one and I was taking calls. That brings me to the microphone. Surprisingly, the microphone quality on this one is much better than many of the expensive headphones that I have tested, for example, even Sony and Sennheiser's. So that way the microphone quality is good, but again, don't expect any active noise cancellation or anything. For example, in a normal situation like you are in the room or etc., the call quality was very good. The microphone microphone is good, the other parties never complain. But when I went outside slightly, it does pick up a lot of street sound. So there is no active noise cancellation. So that is something. But again, if you're sitting in your house and taking calls, the microphone quality is surprisingly actually good. I took a lot of calls, hours and hours of calls on this one, and no one actually complained that I was sounding muffled or anything. So that way I feel it is good for, what do you say, that work from home thing that is happening a lot. If you are a person who takes a lot of calls, and I feel because these actually do not weigh that much, and let me show you with this weighing scale. Let it reset. Yeah, and as you can see, just about 115-ish grams that it has. It's actually pretty light also on your head. That way you can actually wear this for a couple of hours and you'll be okay, because after some time you don't feel it's there. The only thing is that, as I told you, the clamping force initially will be a little bit high, so you might have to like pull it out for after half an hour like this and get used to it. But otherwise, because of the battery life and the call quality that I'm getting over Bluetooth, I feel for work from home this is actually really good. Now let's talk about what do I feel about the sound on this one. And when you get it, I would say by default, this is actually set to that excess bass tone, and it sounds horrible on that one. Horrible means the bass is so much that it makes you crazy. I think so they just equalized it like this, the bass curve. Fortunately, you can change it. To do that, what you have to do is, when the headphone is on, you have to press both these buttons, the volume up and down, for a second, and then it moves to the normal mode. And I used it mostly on the normal mode because I felt that the bass was just too excessive in the regular bass enhanced mode. So unless you are a bass head, just avoid it, because even in the normal mode I felt that the bass is actually enhanced quite a bit. In fact, if you recall, recently I had reviewed this one, the Sony, and this they say is extra bass. In fact, I would say even in the normal mode, this one sounds actually has extra bass than even this one. So you get it, even in the normal mode the bass is quite enhanced on this one. But I feel many youngsters actually like that enhanced bass. In fact, my daughter enjoyed the sound signature on this one. Definitely boosted bass, so for EDMs, rap, etc., you'll really enjoy it. But again, if you're sort of a purist, you don't like that excessive bass, because even in the normal mode it has excessive bass, you might not like. But considering on the box it says bass enhanced, if I have to say the bass rating, I would rate it 8.5 out of 10. Now coming to the mid-tones, here again I think they didn't do anything. The mid-tones, the vocals are not getting enhanced, or they are not forward sounding. And the bass slightly leaks even in that, so it does give that impression of, again, bass enhanced even in the normal mode. But for vocals and stuff, I would say they were actually really nicely produced on this one. And if I have to rate it for the vocals and stuff, I would rate it about 8 out of 10. Now moving to the higher tones, higher frequency treble tones that we talk, here I felt it was slightly lacking. Don't get me wrong, for most of the headphones in this range, actually they were produced very well. But if I have to be critical about it, I would say I did miss that slight sparkle on the treble side with this one. And if I have to rate it overall on the trebles, high frequencies, I would rate it about 7.5 out of 10. The sound stage and the stereo imaging was good. I did also watch quite a bit of movies on this one and watched a lot of YouTube videos, and the movies actually sounded very good on this one. That the explosions, etc., because of that enhanced bass, even in the normal mode they sounded very well on this one. But the only thing is that, for example, on Netflix, I felt that even at the maximum volume level, the volume was simply not that loud compared to many other earphones and stuff. For music, that was not a problem. Generally, I would say when I test headphones and all this, I generally keep the volume level at about 60%. That's comfortable to me. But on this one, I had to keep it about 80%. So again, these are not the loudest. If you're a person who likes to listen to very, very loud music, then you might not like this one. Coming to latency in terms of video and what do you say, YouTube videos and Netflix what I'm watching, the good thing is that I did not notice that lip syncing issue. But some of you keep asking me about gaming. Gaming, if you do, you will, if you carefully notice, very carefully notice, you will notice that micro lag there. But again, that is present even on my Bose QC35. So you just can't compare that. Almost no gaming latency, very few headsets provide that. But if I were to tell any casual player, he wouldn't have noticed that. Now moving to what do you say, the overall impressions that I have with this one. In terms of sound, if I just talk about it, yes, we know it's enhanced bass, then I would rate it about 8 out of 10. But again, the build quality is totally plastic on this. That is something that I do not like. And when you're listening to music and you press these buttons, they give you that feeling of cheap build quality. That is something that I have noticed. But again, I like the fact that the battery life on this one is really good. The microphone for the work from home is good, and also in terms of the sound signature, they do sound actually good. If you are a person who enjoys slightly exaggerated bass even in the normal mode, then you might like it. I just wish the build quality was better, because it's simply just too much plasticky feeling that you get. But still, considering some of the options that we have in this price point, and this coming from Infinity, indirectly a JBL company, I feel it's a decent product, and I would rate it about 7.75 out of 10. Anyways guys, that's it for the review of this one. I have also reviewed other budget oriented earphones, headphones, high-end headphones. I'll leave the playlist for your reference in the description below. Anyways guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care guys.